Recording in progress. Jean, dear Jean, Adrienne, thank you very much for coming to my Zoom. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation. And today I'd like to talk with you about the new launch of that new book called Conjunctio.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
so
very excited.
excited. Me
Yeah.
too. So, what made you write this book?
Okay, I've had a lot of relationships in my 76 years, and none of them have filled my heart with that beautiful, unconditional, reciprocated love. And, I guess maybe I've been in love, but perhaps I really didn't know what love is until the last 5 or 6 years. Um, so at some point, I decided that the common denominator in all of those relationships that ended was me. And I better work on me to figure out why this was happening. So I stopped dating for 7 years and just worked on me. And at the end of that 7 year time frame, I finally decided I had cleared enough stuff that I wanted to try again in a relationship. And I figured that the best way to manifest a beloved partner was to get really clear on what I wanted. So I started writing. And
Wonderful.
this book is the culmination of that.
Actually, yeah, people are very certain about what they don't want. But when people are asked about what do you want, it's not an easy answer. So, how was that journey for you to find out about what you really want?
Well, it was a journey. And um, and over time I got really clear on it. And that whole story is unfolds in the book. The book has three parts. The
Mhm.
first part is my journey from the time I was born until the day I wrote the book, and it's all true. The second part of the book starts with um, the imaginary journey, what I want to create. It starts with the guy buys a house next door to me, and we become friends and we become lovers, and et cetera, and our journey there. And the last part of the book talks about the processes that I went through to get clear enough to figure out what I did want.
Yeah.
So it's a three-step book.
And actually, I completed the third step of the book today.
Oh,
And I don't know if it makes sense, but the time when I finished the last page was in, I'm reaching out to you from Istanbul. According to our local time, it was 13:13. So, and I still have the buzz going around me, the
mhm.
energy of the last part. So that's why I would love to hear from my friends in the world who will read this book, how they feel after reading it. And I will do this as exercise for myself.
Yay. Cool. And also, the book, the one that just got introduced is the Turkish one. The original book that was written in English was released 2 years ago. It's called Conjunctio, and it's
Mhm.
available on Amazon for people in the English-speaking part of the world.
Exactly. I was going to ask you how people can reach to that book. Yeah, Amazon. And in Turkey, it's just been translated into Turkish. And now I think it's available in Pandora.com, right?
Okay. Yeah, I've got some links that I will send you, and you can put them on the
Yeah,
video.
perfect. So that people can reach it. And in terms of the Turkish name, it is called İlahi Evlilik Ruhun Yolculuğu. So a beautiful friend of ours translated that book. So I'm sure it's going to reach to the Turkish readers very soon in good hands. So I would like to ask you something about your journeys,
Mhm.
how you brought all that journeys, literal journey you traveled around the world, and in that book you mentioned lots of travels, and in those travels you met different people, and in each you face something that is in you or that is trying to tell you something. Would you like to talk about that first part of the book?
Sure. Yeah. You know, and the reason why I had to tell the whole story was because when I started looking at relationship, that piece of it, I realized that with every one of my marriages for sure, and the other relationships that I'd been in, I actually learned something really important. And I had a great takeaway from every one of those. It wasn't just that it was a failed marriage, because it wasn't a failure. It was a gift, really. Um, and so then I just had to really sort of go back to the beginning and look at my whole journey, which has been stranger than truth, you know? I
Hmm.
mean, if you look at it as a whole, some of that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, yeah.
But it just shows me today that I've been on this path since before I incarnated in this lifetime. Obviously, I came in with a mission and a purpose that was above and beyond bringing inner speak to the world, or jazz as it's called in Turkish.
Hmm.
Um, it really has to do with going places, anchoring light, and figuring out who I really was.
Yeah,
And I'm still learning that.
and
It's still
actually
happening.
that book is also helping anchoring the light.
Mhm.
And I really wish right now, I'm making my ask here, enough people to read this book to anchor the light on the earth,
Yeah.
to
That's
make the
what's so
change.
important. Yeah, Arzu, that's the most important thing. It's way beyond finding a lover. It's about finding the love inside us that is the love of God
Hmm.
and showing that light into the world
And being that light, yeah,
and
as
being
we
that light.
walk on the earth.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, and in terms of relationships, in the book, it was not only limited to relationships between people, you and somebody else. You also talked about the relationships that you have been to places, and also something about with your body. So
Mhm.
I'd like to first ask the relationship that you have been to places, what you as gift collected from those places.
Yeah. So, I'm a firstborn child. And a lot of times I think firstborn childs have a tendency to mind better than the rest of the kids in the family, you
Mhm.
know? So when I get this nudge that I'm supposed to do something, I do it. A lot of times I do it without thinking. I just go. And, I worry about the how later. Like, do I really have enough money to pay for a trip to Mexico or whatever, you know? And I just do it. And it's always been, I've been sent places that was just totally about anchoring light. There was
Mhm.
no reason to it at all. And I didn't find out until later, probably after I got home, um, that there might have been a reason. And in some cases, I never have understood why did I have to go there? you know,
Mhm.
but I get it now, you know. And so, yeah, I've always followed the call to Enon, Ohio, to see the largest conical Indian mound east of the Rockies, and anchor light there, to Tulum, Mexico, and then to Ekbalam in Mexico. And I went back to Mexico so many times until I was told I was complete. I don't have to go back there anymore, you know, to Turkey.
Yes.
When I got called to go to Turkey, I just said yes. And I'm on the plane. I'm on Pegasus Air going from Brussels, Belgium to Istanbul. And my guides told me, you're going there to complete a circle. And I'm like, what? And I
Yeah,
had no idea.
there's something interesting to that, because when we look at the people who are interested in your work, that is really big amount of people from all around the world, not limited to Turkey. But
Mhm.
when you look at the different countries that you reached to so far, I guess close to 30 countries right now, in those countries, the majority of them are Turkish.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. And in terms of places, so would you like to mention a place that just stayed in your heart in Turkey?
Well, in the beginning it was Istanbul,
Hmm.
but I just went to Turkey a few months back, and I got my heart burst wide open in Konya.
Wow.
I believe that I've met the energetic signature of the beloved partner from this book because I had such a powerful experience in Konya.
Wow. I
So
get goosebumps again.
I know it's happening. And what he told me in Konya was that he couldn't find me this lifetime because he didn't have my energetic signature. I had to go to Turkey, I had to go to Konya to be in that energy so that he would see what my energetic signature was so that he could find me on the earth plane. And I know that that finding is close. It hasn't happened yet, but this is today and it could be this afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah. The question of when is up to, the some
That's up to
universal
spirit.
things, I
I mean,
guess.
literally 2 nights ago, no, it was Friday night, so that would be several nights ago. I woke up in the middle of the night, and my mind was in one of these churns. I'd had a conversation earlier in that evening that left me unsettled, let's just say,
Hmm.
and that's what woke me up. And it took me a while to clear that energy off at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then when I was done, one of my guides was there and I said, okay, so what's with the beloved partner thing? I mean, and he said, Jean, be patient because he said, the wheels are turning, but there are still several things that have to mesh up in order for that to happen. Just be patient.
Hmm.
So, patience is not my strong suit. I'll tell you that for a starter. But yes, that was a confirmation that I needed to just like relax, chill.
Yeah. And in the book, you also touch the relationship with your own body.
Hmm.
And actually throughout our life, how we are storing some memories or the feelings of those memories, or maybe sometimes traumas in the body or
Hmm.
in the energetic field. So, would you like to talk about that part a little bit?
I'd love to. So, the body has a soul just like we do. And I don't know, I was about yesterday years old before I figured that out. But I did figure it out and began to have a conversation with my body. I think probably it's been maybe 5, 6 years
Hmm.
um, that I began realizing that my body was a sentient being, had a soul just like I did. And I mean, I had a long conversation with her last night, as a matter of fact, um, because the body's a nature spirit, and the body's team members are animals. And I have an animal that's digging up my backyard. So it's an armadillo, and animal medicine says armadillos are about boundaries and protection.
Hmm.
And so I checked in with my body, Deva, about that. And she said, yeah, you know, um, some things have happened recently that I felt like my boundaries were violated. So I'm trying to get your attention because you're not listening. So that's how come it's digging up your backyard.
Wow.
But the other part of it was, and this was really an interesting piece to me, she said, I like to, because I said, can you go have him dig up somewhere, somebody else's yard or behind the fence or something, and not tear up my expensive sod? Um, she said, the reason why I brought him in is because I really enjoy playing with him. She said, you have forgotten how to play, Jean. And I want to play. And as I thought about that, and I'm still thinking about it today, I'm going to journal on how did I forget about play? Because I can take something fun that's a plaything and I can make it so bloody serious that it's not play anymore. And I'm really good at doing that actually. I've gotten better at it lately. So I realized, wow, I don't remember how to play. So that's my latest thing that I've learned from the body. But if people will check in with their body, ask to meet the soul of the body, and open a conversation, you can work with your body and remind the body that it's a multidimensional being and it can play out all those old traumas and emotions in a higher realm. It doesn't have to make you sick. So,
Wow.
yeah,
And it can be much easier than people might be thinking.
totally, totally.
Great. So, and once you clear the traumas, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be the all of it or something. We are not saints here, maybe just being human beings
Mm.
on a journey. In terms of your journey with the um, Conjunctio, how you came to, do you want to talk about the name of the book?
Oh
Because
yeah,
there
we
is a
love it.
meaning and there is a chapter about the meaning of that book. Do you want to reveal some part of it and
Sure.
just leave the rest to the readers later on?
Yeah, conjunctio is a Latin term. It's an alchemy term, and it's the alchemical marriage.
I get
And it's
goosebumps.
really, yeah, it's really all about the marriage of our female aspect and our male aspect coming together to create something higher. Alchemy was all about turning lead into gold, quote unquote. That's
Mhm.
what history has led us to believe. Baloney. It was so much deeper than that. It was about the alchemical transformation of the soul. So that's why this is the soul's journey, this book. And it's the soul's journey into wholeness, into joining the male and the female together, because it's in that joining, in that vesica piscis where two circles join, that's where creation takes place.
Yeah.
So, so the book goes through the whole alchemical process, from the darkness, from the death, through the resurrection of the soul and into the alchemical marriage.
Yeah, in the book you talk about the alchemy about like 4 steps,
Hmm.
and you go through the whole story. Actually, you have woven this with your own um, experience, the story, how it came to that moment, and then the imaginary manifestation story, and then you lead the reader into something very nice, which I want to touch very little because I don't want to give too much hints from one video. And when people read about it, it's going to be something like, my sense is that it's going to be something like starting or activating a different energy
Hmm.
on Earth. So, would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, my goal is for everybody to figure out this alchemical process. Because what happens is, more often than not, we start that journey and we get stuck in the darkness, in the death, and we never get past it. And we go into that, woe is me, you know, and whatever that color is for a certain person, I'm not good enough, it's never going to happen, you know, all those whiny flavors. Um, and I guess with this book, I want to show that if you use this as a process and you begin to move from one step to the next, it's very organized how it happens. It has to happen that way for you to get to conjunctio.
Hmm.
And so if you're willing to put the time and the effort into it, you can do that. And all as it takes is enough people to commit to this process that we get to a tipping point and we all get it.
And it's going to be open to whole people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally.
So it's been a very nice read for me. And to be honest, while I was reading it, sometimes I needed to give a break to the reading because I think that what I was reading, uh, that energy was also being processed in my energy field. and
Totally.
party.
Yeah.
And I let this go, going on. And when the healing was finished, so I was ready to continue reading with the next page or the next chapter. And it was for me reading something like three different books, but also it has tons of information in it with very readable information in it. That is like a combination of one big library.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I went through that same sort of journey when I was writing it because sometimes I would be able to write a few paragraphs and then I would just cry. I mean,
Wow.
literally, I cried my way through writing that book because that's how I process. I'm all water, Pisces rising, Scorpio moon. It doesn't get any wetter than that. And, so I cried a lot.
Mhm.
And and sometimes I would have to go to bed and just sleep, and process it in my dream state. And then I could come back and write some more. So I get what you're saying.
And I get what you're saying. And it's also, by the way, in terms of writing, you have given really nice and simple, easy, doable tips in the book for those people who would like to start writing,
Mhm.
writing for themselves or writing for somebody else, or just writing and to put
Yeah.
it out. And you are giving all these clues and um, yeah, keys to that, I would say. That was
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I mean, that's my mission in life is to lead people to find who they really are. And one good way to do that is through writing.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much for writing that. And it's um, okay, I keep really myself in order not to continue to give more details about the book because I want to give some space to people for that to read first. And um, maybe I would like to ask you this. Would you like to consider maybe gathering with people who read the book and do some of those exercises that you are sharing in your book together with the whole group? Would you
Oh,
like to
absolutely.
be
I
interested?
actually have a workshop that I have done.
Mhm.
Um, the English version is Calling in the Beloved. The Turkish version I can't pronounce, but yeah, there is one. And it's a several hour workshop where we go through the processes.
I didn't know about that, but yeah, because it's a great workshop to do. So that's good. Then maybe it's time to repeat to after people read the book in
Yeah,
Turkey as well.
totally.
Perfect.
Totally. Yeah. So when people are ready, let me know. If they get in touch with you, let me know and we'll set that workshop up.
Yeah, and under my this video, wherever we are going to put, I will also put the link where they can get your book from the websites and the shops. And if they have any questions or something, I would like to also collect in terms of if they want to have a workshop like that. Maybe we can create something soon with you. I mean, repeat what you have done in the past. So
Yes. I love that.
before we close our conversation, would you like to add something else to our this conversation around your
Sure.
book?
Well, first off, I want to just give you thanks. I'm very grateful to you for doing this interview, Arzu. Thank you very much. But the most important thing I want to tell people is, okay, so the whole thing about the man is fiction. I actually last week had somebody come to me and she said, I'm really scared to ask you this question. I hope I'm not being intrusive, but did Samuel die? How come you never talk about Samuel anymore? I was like, oh my God, didn't you read the part that said this is fiction? No, he didn't die, but it's a fiction story because she thought that it was real and that I had been married to him and that he was gone. So yeah, it's fiction, people. I'm working on it. I'm working to make it real. I'm putting the energy, because energy's got to follow intent. I'm putting energy towards that, and I'll keep you posted.
And this is also a book that is not only related to a female male relationship, it's also something to do with a relationship with yourself and with
Hmm.
the love that you are searching, the unconditional love, as you mentioned. So I'm going to do the exercise and looking forward to how it's going to show up and would like to share that with you later on. Thank you very much,
Wonderful.
Jean. Thank you for joining me. And thank you very much for accepting my invitation. And thank you very much for writing this book.
Mm,
And I hope to see you very soon again.
okay.
Thank you.